Hello friends, I'm making this short video to let you know that I'm preparing to downsize at White Apple Institute due to my own health issues. But I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that I'm not going anywhere. I'm still staying on the mission. And what is that mission? That mission is to make sure that everyone that I come in contact with who's labeled as underserved and labeled as disabled, okay, knows that there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity to adjust to life, to adapt to the disability, and to succeed. And one of the things that's real important to me is that in following through with the mission is that people understand that it started about helping people to change their perception about disabled, from disabled to differently abled. Okay, what I meant by that is that we're not changing the term disabled, we're changing the perception that we have of disabled, especially for those who are post-injury, post-illness, post-traumatic event, very similar to myself. Unfortunately, I went through a 7-year recovery and have 14 major diagnoses that I am dealing with myself. That doesn't make me feel in any way that I cannot do the work that I had set out to do. It's just that I have to find different ways of doing it. And that's what I want to teach you how to do. So I ask you to continue to send in your questions. Send in your questions to me at info@whiteappleinstitute.org, or you can always call or text me at 888-56-APPLE. Now, 56-APPLE, and then it's 1-888-562-7753. A lot of times people ask me, well, what kind of questions should I send in? And that's real important for me to clarify for you. Because most of the questions that come in are about physical adaptation. How do I adjust to my life or adapt to my life now that I have physical disabilities? But most of the underlying questions are about how do I adapt mentally and emotionally, spiritually, to being labeled as disabled, okay? And where do I go from here? What kind of resources are available to me? Or, oh boy, so often do I get people telling me that they were given a list of resources and they call through all of the numbers and they don't get any answers. So they're not the right resources, or the answers that they get are not the right answers for them. So that's one of the major some of the major things that I deal with questions coming in. But I guess the most important thing is that when we deal with physical, mental, and spiritual issues, is that there's a whole gamut of things that fall underneath that. And one of them, in coming home, especially if you're coming home from a nursing home, if you've been at for weeks or months, or coming home from the hospital, and you've had a serious injury or illness, and you're looking at your family, okay, your friends. So it's socialization that becomes an issue too. Is how do we socialize now? How do we go out and do the same things that we used to do before when our legs don't work, or our arms don't work, or eyes and ears don't work the way they used to? Sometimes it's just a matter of just being able to say, how do I go in the kitchen and still make a sandwich for myself? Something so simple that we took for granted prior to the illness or injury, and now we're in a situation where we have to be dependent on someone else at a certain time level. I talk a lot about how we can become less dependent on other people and more dependent, but that comes down to equipment use. There's so many different things out there that we can use now to make sure that we adjust to our disability or any life-changing event. And that could be life-changing, something traumatic that has happened to you. And you're trying to figure out, how do I get balanced again? You know, because that's so important. So, you know, I talk about culture, I talk about environmental issues. I get questions about, you know, how do I deal now with the factor, you know, I still want to go back to school. I want to return to higher education. in the classroom. I want to return to the workforce. That's a big one. Okay, returning to the workforce. And how do I do that? How do I ask for accommodations and advocate for myself, especially if I feel that there's a sense of discrimination going on? So these are the kinds of questions that come up, and that you can write to me about in your own words. Just put them in your own words, as simple as possible, and just ask Dr. Applewhite. Okay. Now we're still going to continue with the Differently Abled Network meetings that we've been having now since 2017, and we're not going to stop doing that. We're going to still have the segment with the veterans feature and the Ask Dr. Applewhite segment, where I'll be reading your questions. I won't be saying your name or anything like that, but I'll be reading some of your questions with keeping you fully anonymous in that process. Another thing that I find that people ask me about are the legal and financial issues. Now that especially if you are a single person and you're dealing with your own disability issues, and how do you now survive with legal issues and credit issues and all of those types of things. So I just wanted you to know, if you hear that I'm downsizing, or you hear rumors about, I'm not going to be around anymore, that's not true. I'm still going to be here. Like I said, I'm downsizing because of my own health issues, and that's one of the things that I'm going to teach you, is that, sometimes we have to step back and we bite off a little bit more than we can chew, and that's all right, because we're testing the ground. So know that I'm still here, and you can reach me with your questions. Again, I don't want you to sit at home stressed out or depressed out, okay, and trying to figure out how you're going to live a quality life now, post-illness, post-injury, post-trauma, okay? And if you're a veteran, especially like myself, I'm an Army veteran, and it becomes more difficult to ask for help. And so I do answer a lot of questions on that issue too. So feel free to give me a call. And if you know someone who may benefit from what I'm saying today, make sure you share with them this video. And you can also see a lot of the work that we've been doing with the Differently Abled Network on our YouTube channel. So make sure you go to the website at www.whiteappleinstitute.org and check us out. Okay? I hope this helps. Thank you. And again, this is Dr. Danita Applewhite, and I love you.